Greetings, fellow music lovers! Jacob Weil here, bringing you a song-filled installment of Disney Debates, the musical Encore. Tonight's musically inclined topics include which musical Disney film should have received a stage adaptation? Who was the best Disney songwriter or songwriting team? And what was the worst use of a licensed song in any Disney film? So light the lights, break a leg, and raise the curtains as we head on down to the arena! In this corner, a resident lawyer. He's not from Chicago and definitely not an angry man. It is one, the only Rohith Dhar.
I'm ready. Rumble.
Oh yeah. And in the opposing corner, returning to the ring once again, he had front row seats to Rogers the Musical. It is none other than Mutale Munshiku. How are you? And joining me
Let's
on
do that. Let's do this.
All right. And joining me on this on this panel for tonight is Tiki and Blue Dragon 5, my fellow maestros.
I may or may not be inclined to throw away my shot.
Howdy.
So how's everyone doing this fine evening?
Excited for the debate.
I'm pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from the last debate, and I'm wanting to throw down the gauntlet and really provide a solid debating for main rounds, speed rounds.
All right, good. What about you, Mutale?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting discussion about Disney music, and it's just interesting to see because the first debate I did see was a lot of awesome. So to actually be in it, I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Oh yeah, it's like, and we have discussed the musical stuff before, but I figured it was about time to do a return to that. It's like Code Geass. We have Code Geass here saying I'm ready for some heated debating. And we have ZNK saying perfect timing considering Disney's theatrical division turns 30 this year.
Totally unintentional, but yeah, that is good timing.
Yep. And Code Geass
And after Disney turned 100 years old.
That too. I recognize Mutale from him regularly commenting on Geekvolution. I feel like a lot of us discovered this channel because of Geekvolution.
Aw, yeah.
We do love Mutale here. He's awesome.
Yep. And it's a pleasure to actually have him here in the debating chairs.
Yeah. I don't know what bet he lost, but I'm glad he made it.
Sorry about last time.
All right. So everybody's doing good. How about a refresher on the rules?
I'm good.
All right.
You guys don't count. This is for the audience. No. Who may or may not be watching.
Okay. There are 3 rounds. The way the rounds work is that these players here reveal what picks they have chosen for the respective question. They will give the opening statement explaining what their picks are all about. After that, it's time to put up their dukes and fight it out. With words, of course. Now,
And heavy objects, but
yeah.
Digital objects.
Yeah, heavy
Or just
computers.
said just the words.
You speakers, like you swung around like a bola, it's going to hurt.
Yep. Playing with house rules.
So it's
Now-
opening statements, and then we didn't talk about it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
But after I've heard enough, Dragon's favorite co-judge R2. You'll hear that, and it'll be time to shut your gobs. After that point, us 3 theatrical overlords will deliberate, and whoever scores the best with us wins the point for that round. At the end of the 3rd round, we break out the Sherman Silver Dollar, or Sherman Brothers Silver Dollar, whichever one you prefer. If the coin lands heads, you gain a point. Land tails, you lose 1. This coin is optional and will be offered to both of our players.
Also made out of Sherman bullion.
I thought I was going for maybe Bessemer bullion, but oh well. Bessemer steel. Anyway, however, this coin now hidden in one of our rounds is the chorus coin. The way this one works, that'll be offered to the winner of the round it is found in. This coin, however, is not optional. If the winner does not wish to spin, the other contestant must. In addition to the coin, however, some of you may be familiar with our penalty phrases. Yes, they make their glorious return. And we're actually doing slightly different this time. Dragon, would you care to explain?
Well, it's not really something they need to know, but let's just say, certain judges may be on the lookout for certain turns of phrase, or for all you know, the word could be ever-changing, or it could be more than one, or or basically I could just be getting in your mind, psychological warfare style. You don't know.
Dragon, that's what you're here for, right?
It's a gift and a curse, but it's a gift.
A blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
All right. So be on the lookout for those. Better watch what you say, because you do not want to say these things, as we have prepared a whole litany of delicious punishments for you. So feel free to dread, because it's good for the tension. And after the main rounds are done, we will enter the speed round, where those in the audience can actually submit questions and judge the answer. Will you throw flowers their way or tomatoes? We'll find out. First to 5 points will take home the prize. Do you guys understand the rules if I have laid them out to you?
Yes.
Mutale?
Mutale, we're going to need verbal confirmation. Which he's not providing.
Well, this is disconcerting.
Oh no, he's gone.
See, Tiki, you scared him, or you have your Bobby Carnival scared him.
God.
Do I win the debate by default?
Possibly.
Well, only if we count the 10 very, very slowly.
God.
Yes.
1.
Okay, you know what? Let's cue the randomizer just so we don't have to keep looking at it. There he is. All right.
Okay.
Mutale, you didn't give me verbal confirmation.
Mutale.
Stop scaring him, Tiki.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think I disconnected briefly.
Do you understand the rules? Did you hear any of the rules? Or you?
Yeah, no, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, we're just making sure. All right, Tiki, you're up. Cue the randomizer.
Okay.
And looks like we have Rohith going first.
Didn't need the randomizer for anything else, Jacob?
I do not.
Tab organization, ahoy! All right.
So that brings us to the first round. And this question is, which musical Disney film, or just any Disney film, I guess, should have received a stage adaptation? I'll edit that, actually. There we go. Which Disney film should have received a stage adaptation?
I think y'all are fools for not choosing Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Oh yes, everyone's favorite. So, Rohit, what is your pick?
1995's A Goofy Movie.
And Mutale.
My pick is The Emperor's New Groove, which came out in 2001.
All right. Now that you've given your picks, it's time for Rohit to give his opening statement.
in song. No, I'm kidding.
You won't give any bonus points for song, but you'll get a slow golf clap if you do.
Or tomatoes, depending on how good it is.
At 2.
All right. So my assertion and my belief in why a Goofy movie should have a stage adaptation is based on 3 fundamental principles. The first principle I want to highlight is in regards to the story of the film. And for other Disney films that have been brought to the stage and have sort of the musical numbers and whatnot, a lot of the times it's typically the Disney Renaissance era, and the films that come to mind are Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, whatnot. And what those stories are very grand, epic, broad sweeping, all that um, presence and ambiance and whatnot. A Goofy movie is unique among other Disney films, is that it's a relatively grounded story that emphasizes the love and bond between the father and son duo, that being Goofy and Max. And I think in terms of the novelty factor, it would be interesting for audiences to really see something that is not, grand as going to a ballroom or communing with the spirits of nature with a Lion King, or seeing, a grand mystical genie. It's relatively grounded. These are anthropomorphized animals. That's how high fantasy can get. But it's a really, just down to earth human story. And I think with characters such as Max and Goofy being our co-leads in such stage adaptation, you can have a really interesting connection. Let's say you watch this stage adaptation on Father's Day, or if you watch with your family, there's something really human and really, sincere and thoughtful with Max and Goofy story. Principle number 2 is the music. And so a Goofy movie is very in the 90s era, specifically with Powerline, with his 2 particular songs, at the beginning with Stand Out, at the end with Eye to Eye, and the general rock, alt rock vibes with Max's friend Bobby. And I think with the Goofy movie, if it were to be a stage adaptation, you have a unique sound of 90s rock, 90s R&B, and I think you stand a great contrast to other stage adaptations that are more in the traditional musical theater, grand operatic sounds and whatnot. I think I could, with such a unique sound, you can bring in people that maybe you're not into Disney musicals or most Disney movies with a sound that's really exciting, fresh. It can be um, fun to tap your feet to. Principle number 3 is recognition of history. Goofy is one of the iconic characters in old Disney, alongside the likes of Pluto, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Minnie Mouse. And Goofy had his own movie in 1995 that was really well received. That's a childhood classic of 1995. It was a movie that I connected with it in the sequel, and Goofy as a character represents the down to earth, lovable everyman who is clumsy, who's maybe not the coolest dad that you would have, but is a dad and is just a person that genuinely cares and loves and wants to help everyone. He's the friendly neighbor. He is the person that represents sort of the values that people associate with Disney, of just wholesomeness, of friendliness, of oh, of just being a thoughtful and caring, considering person. And Goofy in the stage adaptation and just overall as a character represents really wholesome family values in Disney overall. And I think having a stage adaptation that focuses on one of the main iconic figures in Disney lore, Disney history, is a testament and reaffirmation of what makes Disney a brand that's so powerful and so ingrained in the cultural consciousness of children, adults, and elderly throughout the United States and in the broader world. And so, with these 3 fundamentals of story, of music, and of recognizing Disney history with Goofy being taking center stage alongside his son Max, you have the elements for a stage adaptation that is unique, that is bringing in new audiences, and that is reaffirming the central Disney brand. So, for those principles, for those reasons, I urge for the judges to consider the Goofy movie to have received or should receive a stage adaptation in the near future.
Okay, Mutale, your opening statement.
Okay, so for me, the reason that I did pick Emperor's New Groove, because when I did think about the Disney movies that haven't been stage adaptation, and I saw Emperor's New Groove, and it actually reminded me about that movie when I thought mostly about with the Peruvian culture that that movie has, which has never been done in a Disney movie, which make that movie already stand out from the others. And I thought about seeing that culture being done on the stage would be a very different kind of experience, like people wouldn't be used to when watching Disney stage adaptations. And as well as with the fun comedic tone of Emperor's New Groove, particularly with Cusco, who in the beginning is this arrogant emperor, and then through being turned into a llama and forced to be with Pacha, who's one of the peasants of the village, and where at the end he goes on this insane journey where first he gets chased by jaguars, and then when they get both him and Pacha are both at that restaurant, and then they're unaware of the fact that Yzma and Kronkos are there. I just imagine like those sequences played on a stage, that'd be really funny and hilarious, like the way for most kids would they watch Emperor's New Groove when if that was done on stage. And I just think that and there's another thing as well with Emperor's New Groove is though it wasn't very successful at the time, but it's still considered a cult following. So I just feel that if that did come back, it would be a very different kind of Disney stage adaptation that'd be very unique from the others that I've gotten, which tend to be usually the princess movies or just like one of the more iconic Disney movies. I think Emperor's New Groove would just be a very unique kind of adaptation if it was done. And I guess that's my opening statement.
All right, guys, you've both done it, so now it's time to go into the main round. Fight it out.
Okay, my issue with the Emperor's New Groove. Emperor's New Groove as a movie is great, but I think what makes Emperor's New Groove as a movie really work is its voice cast. You have the likes of David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha Kitt, and Patrick Warburton putting in A-list vocal performances. And if you were to do a stage adaptation of the Emperor's New Groove, I think a lot of the stage actors would struggle to match with the iconic cadence, the delivery, the sense of whimsiness and snappiness that comes with the dialogue. And I think also my issue with the Emperor's New Groove is that while it's well done as a movie, the story that it presents is a very cliched story about having a well-to-do figure, whether it's super famous, super powerful, super rich, who gets humbled and has to become part of the common populace and go through struggles and become more well-rounded, more mature, and more grounded. And whereas for a Goofy movie, we don't really have Disney stage adaptations that focus on parental-child dynamics. Oftentimes for the stage adaptations, as Mutale mentioned about the princess movies, iconic movies, it's very singular, mono-focused. And so with the Goofy movie, you have the opportunity to have Goofy and Max, and you have buy-in from both. You have sort of a surrogate. You have a surrogate for the younger audience with Max. You have a surrogate for the older audience with Goofy. And you see this very push and pull relationship where Max is just hates his dad and feels humiliated. Over the course of the journey, he grows to love and appreciate who Goofy is as a man and as a father figure. And through reconciling, coming together, there's something beautiful and something we don't see in a lot of Disney productions about children learning to appreciate what their parents are doing for them and learning and then becoming better people because of it. Whereas The Emperor's New Groove is just kind of the story is rehashing a cliche that, while well done in movie form, I think it just won't grab audiences the same way if it were to be brought into a stage context.
Okay, as far as what you said about like yeah, obviously yeah, David Spade or for Kid, like and yeah, John Goodman, the voice act, they are really good and they do make that movie. But while I get it would be hard to get other actors to do that, but I do believe that it could be done. And even with the story, that yeah, true, yeah, you could say it is a bit cliche, but it's still nevertheless it's still an entertaining story that I think audiences would like to see, and it should and it does. And I think with the I think because one of the things as well is the first opening song with Cusco as emperor, just showing like the high life that he lives. That would be a fun performance that done in the stage that many I think families would really enjoy. And a Goofy movie does. And I can see what you mean with a Goofy movie, but because I don't know if because yeah, you're also correct that Goofy is like he has been part of Disney for a long time, but I don't know how much people would be that excited about seeing like Goofy as a stage
Well,
adaptation.
consider so let me remember refute or counter that point. Goofy is like he had two movies, a Goofy movie, an extremely Goofy movie that people of my age and below have fond memories and appreciation for. Goofy is alongside Donald Duck, is one of the main iconic figures in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. He was in the Club of Villains, the animated show that was kind of a clip show and had all the different Disney characters interacting in a club setting. And like Goofy is often one of the most imitated characters in Disney. So if anything, to see a stage adaptation focusing on such a character that people have beloved memories and fondness for is just prime. It is the prime venue to really venerate Disney history, Disney lore, Disney canon with Goofy. And Goofy has an interesting template, for an actor to come in and play this. Like it's Goofy, I think bears a lot of similarity to say Ted Lasso. These are two gentlemen that are often looked down upon, not appreciated because they're sort of folksy charm and make people think they're naive, but they're very capable and very loving. And I think Goofy as a character and his relationship with Max, it's a unique story that's not replicated in a lot of Disney movies, but also it's unique in that Disney's all about bringing families together, connecting with family. And I think for an audience, you could have like a parent and child come in and fall in love and see themselves in the characters of Max and Goofy. Whereas for say the Emperor's New Groove, I feel like it'd be hard for you to see yourself in much of the characters besides Pacha. Pacha's the only grounded individual. Like Cusco's this well-to-do guy that has to like learn to, think of other people. And then you have these like very cartoonish villains. A Goofy movie doesn't follow the traditional Disney formula. It's more of a road trip, father-son movie. And the challenge, the villain or the antagonistic force is them getting over their differences or trying to look into one another's perspective. And that's I think is really interesting and really dynamic because you then don't have to say, all right, where's the villain song? Where's the this and that? Like you don't have the cliche, the formulas for other Disney films when they're adapted as stage adaptations. You have something that's unique, that's wholesome, that's very sonically unique. Like the fact that we can have really imagine seeing stand out and eye to eye on a stage would be astounding. People would just jump up and engage with it. You can have maybe rock theme songs from say Bobby or Pete. You can have like songs from performances from Roxanne and Pete's dad and whatnot. There is a lot of juice that we can squeeze out of a Goofy movie. Whereas for Emperor's New Groove, it's a fun, snippy, like, you watch it, you get a nice story, you have really good vocal performances. But I think the elements that make an Emperor's New Groove work are hard to translate or see realized in the stage adaptation.
You are right. Like with Goofy, like yes, he obviously, and but I think just why I just picked Emperor's New Groove because I just think it would be just something new and different instead of just like Goofy because he's someone that people already know who he is. With Emperor's New Groove, it would just be because it's new, and giving that new experience is something I think audiences would like to see rather than just seeing Goofy, who's a character they already know, but they would like to see something new
Well,
and different.
what is new about the Emperor's Review? Because I know you mentioned earlier about the Peruvian culture, but it feels like the Peruvian culture is just kind of a background setting, just as a like I wouldn't say Hercules is like a good insight to Greek culture, Greek society. It's just kind of a background for the main story and musical numbers to play out. And I think on a music level, the Emperor's New Groove doesn't do anything that's really exciting or new. It's just kind of typical broad, musical theater fare. And whereas for a Goofy movie, you have the '90s R&B with Powerline, you have the alt rock potential with Bobby, you have kind of just whatever music was popular in the '90s play out, and those kind of music. We're in an era where we're nostalgic for '90s culture and '90s vibes. So I think a Goofy movie can be if adapted to the stage, can hit the cultural zeitgeist or as close as it can get, with stage adaptations and really hit audiences in a way that's different and unique. You don't have like for people that might not be into Broadway theater, musical theater, that typical other stage adaptations do of Disney properties. You have somebody that's, not to use the term that may be cringy, like hip, modern, something that can get a beat grow, get the people moving. And with the fact that you have Max and Goofy, you have sort of you have sort of an emotional connection. Whereas I feel like for audiences, oh, this is a story that they've seen in, like Cars and Doc Holiday, or like the Marty the Michael J. Fox movie Doc Holiday and whatnot that Cars is basically inspired by. So I think for a Goofy movie, you mentioned about like people already know Goofy, and that's kind of the selling point is that Goofy is a known character and he hasn't been given his due in the stage adaptation context. And considering he has like a Goofy movie that's a really beloved movie, people have played on the VCRs, seeing him realize with the quality actor and him having a great dynamic and chemistry with whoever plays Max is just pure, joy. It's it's fun for the family. It's a family centered, story. And I think you can have a lot of fun bits with this example, like the road trip could be a fun act two where you can have little songs that maybe reference like songs from different states that they go through. Act one, you can have, stand out and Goofy's has a number at his work, and act three, you have maybe you can have like a duet number with Max and Goofy, and then you can end with eye to eye. And maybe you can have like a romantic number with Max and Roxanne. There's so much potential musically, and the story is just something that is universal, something that reaches out, beyond just people who watched in 1995. I think if you were to play this movie, you know, to a person who is a Gen Z or Gen Alpha, they can appreciate and admire the simplicity and sincerity that this movie provides. Whereas I think Emperor's New Groove is a little bit too cool for school, and I think nowadays, culturally speaking, I think we have an appetite and appreciation for things like Ted Lasso, for things that are more hopeful, more sincere, more joyful. And I think a Goofy movie, when it's adapted to a stage adaptation, considering theater kids are very optimistic, just have their heart on their sleeves. I think that speaks to the cultural, milieu, and having a Goofy movie adapted to the stage. You have characters, you have music, and you have the veneration of a Disney icon like Goofy, who deserves his due.
Okay. I was gonna just say, you talked about how like the father son, like the father and son not getting along, and then by the end they do. Like you said, oh, it would be this fresh thing, but it wouldn't be this new thing. It's not like original. It's been done before, so I'm not sure why is it that.
No. So it's fresh in the context of other Disney adaptations, and the particular point I was making was that for a lot of Disney stories, you have young characters trying to find their way in the world and try to find out who they are without their parents being involved, or their parents being dead and being a separate plot point. You have an interesting place where you have two leads: a father who has a particular way of doing things and raising his kid, and his kid not understanding him. And for the audience, you can see both sides of the debate. You can see both sides of the conflict, and you go on this journey to where no one is a bad guy, no one is evil or wrong. You just have these two characters that go through this road trip, that go through learning about one another, to go from maybe just the typical father and son dynamic where the father's always embarrassing the son to where the son appreciates what the father has. For a lot of Disney stories, parents are not really involved in the main thrust of the story as actual main characters. So that's kind of the unique spin. You have Max and Goofy being equal co-leads, having individual song numbers and duet song numbers. That's the uniqueness in comparison to other Disney films that have been adapted to the stage.
Okay. I actually also should have been mentioned, but the other thing also about Emperor's New Groove is unique is the fourth wall breaking thing that Cusco does in the movie. And also that's another thing as well. If you adapted that to a stage, it would be another hilarious thing that I think families would also like to enjoy. Because one of the things Emperor's New Groove has been described as is sort of like Disney's version of Deadpool, but just obviously not rated R, but just like the family version. And that just, because it would just provide like a very just fun experience that people have. Because
the thing is, so just to interject a second, the fourth wall breaking aspect is kind of innate for any Disney film that's adapted to the stage, because in Broadway you have a call and response with the audience at certain points of the show. So I think if a Goofy movie were to be adapted, it can break the fourth wall, where maybe Max turns to the audience and says, hey, my dad's being annoying and whatnot, or the dad can just like the actor who plays Goofy can maybe play with the little kids who are in the stage, just as he was playful with the one kid when he's taking the photos at the beginning of the movie. So I think the fourth wall breaking aspect, while that's unique in a movie, an animated movie context, on stage, there is an inherent already breaking the fourth wall, because Broadway and stage plays require a level of interaction with the audience that's not there with film, TV, or more static and visual mediums.
Okay. All right, there we go.
Oh my, Trevor. Sorry, guys.
All right. Good first round, guys.
Okay.
That was a good opener. So, but let's turn the deliberation. Start with the deliberation, shall we? All right. So, Dragon, how are you leaning?
These are two really solid picks, two excellent movies, obviously, and two shows I would be tempted to see, frankly. However, here's where I'm coming down on it. So, Rohith's opening statement, I didn't care for it.
Huh.
I don't know. It felt really weak sauce of an opening statement from him. On the flip side, Mutale, his argument was as solid as a wet fish. It wasn't a great argument. It just like he was not putting up a fight at all. It was kind of sad, frankly. However, fundamentally, I think Mutale's opening was really good. It was really short, simple, to the point, and I think it made a really good case for his pick. But that said, going based off the argument, I think just I can't give Mutale a point for barely defending his own thing. Like the most he gave us was like the opening statement had all the really good points, but he didn't really have a rebuttal for anything. Rohith just kept coming at him, so I have to give the point to Rohith.
All right. Hi, JT.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way as Dragon. Rohith, buddy, I don't mean to keep coming down on you on this, dude, but like, this isn't a courtroom. You don't have to have literal three-pronged arguments. Like, it's okay to be brief. As a matter of fact, we'd probably prefer it. But even still, yeah, I definitely think, as far as the actual arguments goes, I think Rohith definitely won.
Yep. So, I would say something, but it would basically be a repeat of what these guys just said. So it's a clean sweep for Rohith.
All right. Comments?
All right, highlight the comments.
Kogios says, Dragon, being a fan of a Goofy movie makes sense because it's about a dad. An old dad. All right. Z&K says, we're nostalgic for 90s culture? I thought we skipped right over the 90s and went to the 2000s. No, we're nostalgic for 90s culture, I think. Okay. Yeah, Rohit does have a lawyer for an icon, but, this isn't a courtroom. It's a debate.
But don't drag the man's livelihood into it. Don't be that guy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. All right. Let's see. Kogia says Rohit makes a great point. It's hard to top people like Eartha Kitt and Patrick Warburton. I think stage people could do it, but I hear you.
Which to be fair, Mutale did point out.
Z&K says Groove doesn't really have much of a musical aesthetic.
Yeah, I
really
did point out.
He's against it.
Well, to be fair, I did modify the question to be more of the music to the stage adaptation.
Sure. Z&K says, I know that it worked in the past with stuff like Shrek. I don't know if it worked for Cusco.
I think if you had the right team, it could work.
For sure. I really like this comment, actually. Z&K says, the costuming of a Goofy movie can be more in line with the SpongeBob musical. A musical that is much better than the Shrek musical, I will say.
Yeah, SpongeBob musical is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The makeup's not bad in the Shrek musical, though.
No.
The Shrek musical's all right. I like it more than most people, but it's still not great.
I just mean the makeup. I mean, he actually looks. He's like in that Shrek. I don't know.
You're right.
It's not just a guy.
But Dragon, you haven't seen Community Theater Shrek.
I haven't seen the Shrek music.
Right.
There's a film production of it. I think it's on Netflix.
Well, now who knows? But
there is a stage production. There is also a filmed version of the SpongeBob musical as well.
it's just a guy in brown pants.
No, it's majority of the original.
That's actually kind of an accurate description of the SpongeBob character design in that musical.
It is majority of the original Broadway cast. And then they even got Tom Kenny to appear in the recording as Patchy the Pirate as well, which is nice.
Okay.
And speaking of which, fun fact, this backdrop is actually one of my local theaters.
Yep.
So it's just a fun fact. So
Boom, baby.
What?
Boom, baby.
Boom, baby. Yes. I'm lucky to have two very good theaters right downtown. All right, so moving on to the next topic. It is.
Wait.
Oh.
Coin phrases. I did not hear my phrase.
All right, I did not hear mine either.
It got close potentially for one of mine, but I did not hear it.
And one of the ones I had proposed actually was said.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, it was rejected.
Let's be honest. No one's gonna say the word this. Then no one's gonna say it.
All right.
I'm accepting the loss now. No one's gonna say it.
Well, I haven't heard it, and the coin was not found this round either. All I found was this lens cap. So, was this lens cap to my webcam. So, unfortunately, we don't have any coins.
How small is that lens cap?
It's for a webcam.
Okay.
It's not a very big one.
All right.
They have small webcams, Dragon.
Oh yeah, I saw Echo. I saw how small the cameras can get. I understand.
Speaking of coins, C&K says since it's a Sherman Brothers themed coin, it should be called the Sherman Tuppence.
There you go, Jacob.
The Sherman Tuppence. Then how's that?
All right.
I was going for alliteration, but
fine. The Tin Sherman Tuppence.
The Sherman Tuppence. Okay, let's just go with that. Or feed the bird for feeding the birds.
Yep.
Or a kite, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, feed the kite.
To be fair, there is a bird called a kite, so that does work.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So technically, that does work.
You're lucky Colby isn't in the comments, Dragon.
Called a kite?
Yeah, there are birds. There are types of birds called kites.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Who is the best Disney songwriter or songwriting team? Rohit?
My pick is the great Howard Ashman.
And Mutale?
Mutale, your pick?
Hey,
Mine is Elton John and Tim Rice.
All right. Rohit, your opening statement.
All right. For Howard Ashman as a songwriter, all that you can think of for his songs, such as Arabian Nights, Be Our Guest, Kiss the Girl, Under the Sea, all of these iconic songs, you are, as a listener of his music, you are transported to the worlds that these songs, to the worlds of the movies that his songs were in. Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and Little Mermaid. And the fact that his songs were recognized by the Academy, that in fact, to quote from Jeffrey Katzenberg, he made a point that there were two angels watching down on them that were putting the magic touch in every Disney film they made. And those two angels were Howard Ashman and Walt Disney himself. And considering his list of songwriting credits, it is without hyperbole. You have a man who is able to evoke mood, evoke a sense of wonder and beauty, an ability to have you feel enchanted in the best ways possible. And that is what Disney is. And that's what it means when you think of songs in the Disney canon. You think of songs that people can sing to at karaoke, that sing to by themselves when watching the movie, or sing in their heads as they go about their day. The songs that Howard Ashman wrote were evocative, were just transfiguring. The fact that "Poor Fortune Souls" was in his credits. What a banger! What an iconic Disney villain song. And for the other songs I mentioned about Arabian Nights, Be Our Guest, Kiss the Girl, Prince Ali, you have songs that have just a lot of pump. They have a lot of when you listen to them, you can't help but tap your feet to them. You can't help but just dance along and just be in the groove, be in the world of the movie. That was what Howard Ashman's legacy was as a songwriter, as in Disney. He pushed audiences to feel a variety of emotions and a variety of feelings, and for that, Howard Ashman, lives on in his legacy through the music that people from young to old can sing along to and have stuck in their heads because it is music that personifies what it means to be a Disney film or a Disney experience. Enchantment, wonder, and just overall magic. He is the best Disney songwriter overall.
All right, Mutale.
Okay, so everything like Rohit said about Howard Ashman is true, but for me, why I personally went with Elton John and Tim Rice and is because of The Lion King. And yes, they've only just worked on just one film, but that one film, The Lion King, which as still right now is it was the highest grossing film of the Disney Renaissance. It was still the highest grossing 2D animated film of all time. And just because of that, because how well it did that, and most of the reasons why was there was the story, which was great, there was the animation was great, as well as the voice actors, but also I think a lot of that is also due to the music, and simply the music from Elton John and Tim Rice. Like you have Circle of Life, which many consider to be the most iconic opening of any Disney movie, when you see the sunrise and you see all the animals rise up and they all go to Pride Rock, to Hakuna Matata, which so many kids to this day still will sing along to, as well as the Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which is considered the go-to like love Disney music. And I think like those songs to me is because with Howard Ashman, yes, he did work on like Little Mermaid and Aladdin, which started the Disney Renaissance, but to me, The Lion King sort of like really was the peak of that era. And I think part of that it wouldn't have been that if it wasn't for the songs by Elton John and Tim Rice. And I actually see that again, even with the remake, which ended up also being, it's actually technically, even though they say it's live action, it's really animated, how that ended up making like $1.6 billion just shows to show how Lion King is still this beloved film from Disney. And I think just because of the songs from Elton John and Tim Rice, that I don't think that would have happened if it wasn't for them. So that's why I chose these two.
All right, guys, duke it out.
See, the thing is with Elton John and Tom Rice, it's like for Tim Rice, for those two, they just were on one movie. Howard Ashman was on 3 noteworthy movies: Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin. The Kings. The if you were to think of what is Disney Renaissance, those 3 films are are untouchable. And I think what makes those films untouchable is the music. Howard Ashman's songs, as I mentioned about, say, Arabian Nights, Prince Ali, You Have a Friend Like Me. Those are iconic numbers where you have a sense of tone with the Arabian Nights. You have a sense of personality with Friend Like Me with Genie. And then if you go to, say, The Little Mermaid, you have songs like Kiss the Girl, Poor Unfortunate Souls, and Part of Your World. You have songs where you have establishment and characterization of a really scary villain of Ursula with Poor Unfortunate Souls. You have Kiss the Girl, that's also, I would say, argue as romantic as Feel the Love Tonight. And Part of Your World is probably one of the most iconic and songs in the Disney Renaissance overall. If you just go to the YouTube and see that segment, it has several million views, and it's an incredible vocal performance by the voice actor who voiced Ariel, and just the overall cadence. That is a song that moves and makes you feel what Ariel's feeling as she's looking out to see the wider world. And with, say, Beauty and the Beast, you have Be Our Guest, Gaston, the Mob song. You have Beauty and the Beast. You have these songs that transport you to the 18th or 17th century France, and you feel the ambiance of the palace as the song is playing, the Beauty and the Beast. You get a feeling for the characters with Be Our Guest. Howard Ashman is a versatile talent that was able to cross different stories that had different genres, different tones, but still had a singular Disney quality that I think defines not only the Disney Renaissance, but the Disney brand overall. I think Elton John, Tim Rice, they did great work with The Lion King, but I think in terms of the Disney je ne sais quoi, I feel it's less of a Disney song quality, like soundtrack, and more of an Elton John soundtrack that's in a Disney movie. Whereas Howard Ashman, through his works, his contributions, has defined the Disney sound from the 90s onward.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, I agree with you. Howard Ashman is great, and that's the thing I knew when I was going to do Elton John, because he's only done one movie, whereas Howard Ashman has done those movies. But just the reason why I went with like Elton John and Tim Rice is just because of, given like how The Lion King became, like, it was the highest grossing film like of the Disney Renaissance, and the fact that Little Mermaid did okay, but it wasn't like that huge, as well as and yes, Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast also did really good. But just with Lion King, of how well it did, and the reason why is because those songs, which are so iconic to that movie, that it wouldn't. I don't believe that The Lion King would have achieved that if those songs also went there. What are you going to say?
Well, Mutale, the thing I have issue with your line of argument is you're talking about the box office success of The Lion King, and while you can argue that it's Elton John's music, there's so many other factors: the direction, the story, the vocal performances.
Well, no, of course.
For Howard Ashman, for The Little Mermaid, for the Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, he's had a song nominated for each film, with 2 out of the films he's won for Under the Sea, for Little Mermaid, for Beauty and the Beast, for Beauty and the Beast. This guy, like, I think for Elton John, he was able to convey a sound because he's Elton John, and really make The Lion King work the way it does. But I think if we're to talk about the best Disney songwriter, I go for the person that has, done quality songs of different and really solid, songs and different types of Disney songs. You have really great villain songs with Gaston, with Poor Fortress Souls. You have really fun boppy songs with "Friend Like Me" uh, and Prince Ali. You have really romantic songs with "Kiss of the Girl," and you have really evocative, beautiful music with "Part of Your World." Uh, Also, Under the Sea. That's I think for when we think about the general vibe of a Disney movie, Howard Ashman's musical influences pervade all. The sense of the boppiness, the chorus, the where everyone just comes and breaks the song. That's Howard Ashman's influence. That's his way of telling the story through song. And I think for Elton John, it's like he's doing this sort of grand operatic music, and that's great and all. But I think if we're talking about what makes the best Disney songwriter, we need to go to the person that has quality music that is defined and set the foundation for what Disney music is overall. And I think Hashman has that hands down. Whereas I think for Elton John, he's made great music that made Lion King one of the most well received movies in the Disney canon, but that in and of itself does not make him the best Disney songwriter.
Well, is it okay? Considering this thing, yeah, I agree with you that Howard Ashman, he was the first person, obviously, but just like, and it was also even with Elton John also was nominated for Oscars, like for Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, and he won for Can You Feel the Love Tonight. And I wasn't just gonna.
The point is that for Howard Ashman, he was nominated for 3 different movies that have different tones, different stories, different themes. But he had a song that was recognized to be of the quality to be recognized by the Academy, and that's I think, and the fact that he
Sorry, just please repeat that. Just repeat that.
That's incredible that he was able to do this. By the time he was, but he's 40. That's an incredible legacy that I think should be recognized and should be understood as lending the sound that is fundamental to Disney as a brand.
And I do agree with you with Howard Ashman. Just like for me, but those songs as well with like Lion King, Circle of Life, like that opening is like one of the most like iconic openings in any Disney movie. That I don't think any other Arabian Nights is good, but I don't think it just matches like the lyrics and chorus that with Circle of Life conveys. And with Be Prepared, that song is also really well beloved. And one of the most memorable thing about it was the Nazi imagery with the hyenas goose stepping like Nazis, and that's the thing that most people remember with that song, and it just helps to show like the kind of villain that Scar is, as well as with Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which to many people is still very beloved and well received. And I didn't want, and the reason why I just
I would say your response to that, it's like you got Be Our Guest, you got Beauty and the Beast, you got Belle, you have like Howard Ashman has an ability to be versatile and having sort of the fun Bobby vibes with A Friend Like Me and Under the Sea, but to have grand music like Beauty and the Beast and Part of Your World, and having good villain songs with Gaston and Poor Virtual Souls, I think Howard Ashman has demonstrated range, and I think that's what I think is really important for this debate to undernote is that for Howard Ashman, he's the best because he's done the best. I would argue the best version of sort of types of Disney songs we expect in a Disney movie. If people think about, what's a good villain song, and what do you look as the gold standard, I think Poor for Yourselves is definitely up there. And for romantic songs, it's like Then Kiss the Girl with sort of the crowd, the way the ship is turned around, and the chorus, that is evocative, and that is, I think, the template for a lot of romantic songs for Disney. And I think for like Friend Like Me, Under the Sea, those are the fun, boppy, just stump your feet. And I think that's what's really important for Howard Ashman as the best Disney songwriter, is that he's able to have that range across different movies that have different, production cycles, different attentions. And I think when we talk about what it means to be a great Disney songwriter, it's someone that, regardless of setting, regardless of character, regardless of themes, or just even type of music, you have a through line. And I think the through line for Howard Ashman as a songwriter is his ability to transport audiences into the world of of the films, with Beauty and the Beast, with Aladdin, with Little Mermaid, and to also at the same time get those audiences even further into the minds and just depths of certain characters, especially the villains, and especially with or especially with main characters such as Belle, and such as Ariel, the Little Mermaid. So
Okay. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
I think when making the point about who's the best songwriter, that's what I go for: range and ability to take the audiences on an emotional journey.
So, okay, with range, that's kind of the same thing with Elton John, because Circle of Life is more. There's a sense of grandeur to it, and then with Can You Feel the Love Tonight, it's romantic, and then Hakuna Matata is more funny and comedic, and Be Prepared is also very sinister. So those are also different tones as well. Like I know with Howard Ashman, yes, there's these like with different, obviously with different movies, but even in Lion King, there's these different tones as well. And
I
just
mean, there is someone like an overriding operatic sense, which kind of makes sense for the Lion King, because Lion King is kind of like based on Shakespearean tragedy. It has this kind of like presence and way about it, and so I think even for Hakuna Matata and even for Feel for the Love, there is sort of a single um element, and that's kind of the bombast, or sort of the raising of the roof. And whereas I think for Howard Ashman is that each song has sort of an individual identity, as a way of when you the way you react to Be Our Guest and Friend Like Me is very different to how you react to Gaston and Poor Fortune Souls. For Howard Ashman, he has different beats, he has different sort of the tone, the lyrics, the how for Poor Fortune Souls.
what was that?
That's it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's enough. Okay, good work, guys. All right, guys, I'll let Tiki cast the first stone.
Yeah, honestly, guys, I kind of feel like you guys were kind of going back and forth on the same like 2 or 3 points over and over again. Like, oh, The Lion King is more iconic, but Ashman has more films.
Yeah, it's like
So
I was waiting for more points to come up until I was like, okay, now we need to cut it.
right. So in protest of that, I'm going to give it to the less obvious choice, which is going to be Elton John. Having said that, I would like to see, like, it is Elton John and Tim Rice. I feel like Tim Rice kind of got left out in the cold here.
Yeah, I do kind of agree.
The rice got all cold.
Also, Aida is technically a Disney theatrical production, which those two also did. I know that's not like a movie, so it doesn't really count. I just want to give it credit.
Well, I mean, technically, it's not a movie; it is Disney's songwriting team. So
Yeah.
Songwriting teams. I picked that's why I added Tim Rice, because he also helped with Lion King.
Technically, it could. So technically, they could have included. You could have included Ida in there as well.
All right.
But it wasn't necessary. Dragon.
Yeah, this. I mean, I guess it was an improvement.
I think the opening statements were an improvement.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, I think Rohith had a far better opening statement this time around. But
I think Mutale did defend better this round too.
Lion King's
Well, maybe. So here's the thing. So against both, I heard, with Rohith, it's just it really got really repetitive. It's like a record skipping, or like one of those like early 2000s like Kids Bop-esque kind of song listings. Just like we're listening. Hey, we have this song too, and that one is listed. Like, I kept hearing the man's repertoire again and again, and not really why the man was great, aside from versatility, which that point was made very well. I just heard a lot. On the flip side, with Mutale, here's the thing with Mutale. I like that he stuck his ground. I like that he dug his heels in with like the internal variety of Lion King, but I don't think he quite hit on like why it was a big deal that they got Elton John and Tim Rice, or more so. I feel like Mutale had like the most perfect like debate hunting spear, and he didn't chuck it. He had this sort of you have like what he had in his corner was, John and Tim Rice. On the flip side, like, Ashman and Menken, and he could have thrown the Menken in the mix there. Of like, well, a lot of that success is attributed to Menken as well. And I don't know to respect him for not using the Menken, the Menken Achilles heel or not. But I don't know. I think it might have strengthened his argument a bit, because the best point he had was that mine had Nazi song out. Essentially, that's essentially what Metale's best point was. It was that hey, we had I have a love
Nazi
song.
is right.
A love song. I have hyena Nazis. Essentially, it's essentially
That's cool.
And that's more like on the animators and everything more than the,
yeah. So I mean, I really can't give it to Mutale. I gotta give it to Rohith.
Oh, that's a tough point.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And technically, Tim Rice also worked on Aladdin.
Yeah.
But it's because of the unfortunate passing of Howard Ashman.
Oh yeah.
So that's due to the unfortunate passing of Howard Ashman. But Tim Rice did technically work on that as well. So again, this is definitely a tough choice. I was hoping I kept it going a bit long because I was hoping for some more variety, but that's ultimately why I had Dragon cut it short in the middle of Rohith's point. So again, just strengthen the arguments, keep the opening statements brief, and defend yourselves more. But again, I'm going to give my point to Rohith here as well. He had more. Even though it was more repetitive, he did have a bit more variety.
Well, his whole argument was variety. It was variety.
I know, but he did highlight more of the versatility and everything. I kind of wish that Mutale did talk about more like the atmospheric nature of the Lion King and everything.
Yep.
He did talk about variety himself, but how sometimes what the Lion King did kind of suited the atmosphere of the film more suitable than some of the stuff that Ashman did. All right, so that brings it to Rohith 2, Mutale 0. And did you guys hear the words?
I did not.
I was listening for it. I did not hear it.
And I did not hear anything either. However, I did happen to find the coin.
Ooh.
Yes. And you know what that means? It is time to offer the coin. Remember, Rohith, you can either flip it yourself, but if you don't, that means Mutale will have to. So, Rohith, will you take the chance?
I will respectfully pass the offer.
Did you say decline?
I decline.
All right, that means Mutale, you have to flip.
Well, the good news is Mutale can't lose a point.
Well, that's up to Jacob. Jacob, do you want to put him in the negatives?
No.
No, we're not putting him in the negatives. We've never put anyone in the negatives.
There's the first time for everything.
Well, Dragon, I'm nice.
All right.
And I don't think even you, and despite what you think, and despite even your tendencies, I don't think even you'd put them in the negative, right?
True.
So there you go.
Unless one of them ticked me off, then I might actually do it.
All right, that's fair. But then, so that brings us to the third topic.
We have Little Blue in the comments really quick. Just going to read out some comments. He's saying Disney has always had great songwriters involving two people. Yeah, that has been a trend with them. Kokia says neither contestant chose the Frozen songwriting team. I'm honestly more surprised that neither of you chose the Sherman brothers. Speaking of which, Z&K says, thank God this wasn't a death match between Ashman and the Shermans. That would have been A, too easy, and B, a bloodbath.
Well, Howard and Alan.
Yeah, well, I guess to me it was.
Yeah.
I guess because Lion King is my favorite Disney movie, that's why I just went to Elton John, then Frozen, which I like, but I don't love like Lion King. I actually didn't know about the Sherman brothers. It's actually when I did research, like, oh, I didn't know these were. So yeah, that's why I didn't go for them.
All
right. Z&K says both had short tenures, especially going specifically to Tim and Elton, but Howard certainly did more. Tim overall, sure, but with Elton, it's just the Lion King and Aida. Kokia says Elton John's songs in Romeo and Juliet are great.
No, it's not. It's Nomeo.
Nomeo, sorry.
Like Garden Gnome Tiki.
and that is a Disney thing. Low key, I would debate that the soundtrack for The Road to El Dorado was even better than the Lion King soundtrack.
I really like it. I love the El Dorado soundtrack.
And I'll say a one.
I like it. I don't know if I love it that much.
I mean, look, I don't know if I want to stack them up against each other, but I'm just saying I like that soundtrack.
The only standout for El Dorado is it's tough to be a god.
I think the opening song slaps.
I love that. I love that song when Miguel is falling in love with the city. That's a really nice song, man.
All right.
I like the opening song. That's my favorite.
Yeah, the opening song is honestly my favorite.
It's ridiculously catchy. It's very simple, but it's ridiculously catchy.
Like the opening song feels like something that would just be on one of his albums, honestly.
Yeah.
Kogia says Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King aren't that great in his opinion, but The Little Mermaid's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it isn't just Elton John on his own.
Yeah, we got some rice on the side.
Okay, so on to the third topic. Worst use of a licensed song in a Disney film. And technically they both went with Marvel options.
Oh, okay.
Rohit?
My choice is Just a Girl by No Doubt in 2019's Captain Marvel.
Okay. Mutale?
Mine was Beyonce Single Ladies for Doctor Strange, which came out in 2016.
Okay. I'll say that the years aren't entirely necessary when you do these things.
Excuse me?
All right, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I just the name of the song and the movie would have been fun.
That's nice. Don't tell them to not do it. That's kind of nice. Throw in the year.
I'm saying it's not necessary, but okay.
Nice.
All right. So, all right, guys, give your opening statements. Why are these songs bad? At least in the usage of their own films. Opening statement for Rohit.
So, Just a Girl is a really fun pop song that's about female empowerment and just being free and not having to live by anyone's rules. And this song is put at the end of Captain Marvel, where Captain Marvel is specifically fighting off the Star Force, and the music starts playing. And the problem with the use of the song is that the action doesn't flow well with the beat of the song. The lyrics barely have any connection with Captain Marvel's arc throughout the story, and it feels often, for the most part, like a hackneyed, oh, here's a girl power song from the 90s, played as a girl power character, fights off the bad guys. And, like, the music and as the action is going, the choreography is not done in a way to match with the rhythm of the song. The song doesn't have particular lyrics that are placed at certain action beats that pair well. It's just Captain Marvel's just shooting her energy beams. She'll have like a few lines with each individual member of Star Force. One is like, the most memorable part of that sequence is just a piece of dialogue between her and Gemma Chan's Minerva, where she's like, so you knew, that's why you didn't want to be friends. It's like, no, I'm not friends with you because I don't like you. And that's it. The song is just kind of, unfortunately, background noise, and it just takes away from the scene where when Captain Marvel realizes who she is and is just about to kick ass, you should either have a really bombastic score to underline the badassery of Captain Marvel, or a really punchy, fun, just, jump on your feet and just go, go, go. None of that's there. Just a Girl is just kind of a song that you kind of vibe to, and just, it would work in scenes where if a character's walking down the street and just feeling herself. But Captain Marvel isn't that kind of movie, doesn't have any of those kind of scenes where that song would work. So the way the song is played, it's just really awkward. It cuts down it ruins the tempo of the actual scene. If you take the song out, the scene is 100 times better if you just have a regular generic score, or a song that's just a little more punchy, that has maybe if it's like a Riot Girl, or like if you had Cherry Bomb in that scene, even though it was from Guardians, that would make the scene 100 times better. Just a Girl is just kind of reflective of the way the song is played. It's reflective of how badly Captain Marvel's story, I felt, was done in 2019, the 2019 movie, because it was like, this character had a ton of memory, she has to go on an arc, and we had the subtext of her, being held captive, of being oppressed, and she takes her chip off and is now a fully empowered woman. But
all right, Rohit, we're gonna cut it off there. We can save the rest for the argument.
gotcha.
Mutale.
Okay, so for me, I picked Beyonce Single Ladies. It plays when Wong first when Doctor Strange is in Carmitage and he first meets Wong, and he makes, because when he just finds out his name's just Wong, he makes this joke about, like he's like Aristotle, sing, then he goes to Beyonce, which one of the things that's criticized about Doctor Strange is the humor falling flat, and it's in that instance that when I actually got back and looked at it, it actually was maybe the worst use of a licensed song. Well, I think for being a Marvel movie, because it drags a really unfunny joke and then when you have Wong listening to Beyonce Single Ladies arbitrarily, like, why does it have to be that? I mean, he also mentioned Sting. It could have also been that, but for some reason it's just Beyonce Single Ladies, and then it's just while he's listening to it, then Doctor Strange is just picking the books in the library, and Wong is just distracted from it. Like, it just feels very forced. And that's one of the instances where I think the Marvel humor can be very annoying. And usually with like Marvel movies, they tend to use licensed music like really well, like with like in Iron Man or like with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But I think with here in Doctor Strange, it just felt like a very like forced thing that was added to just make humor that really wasn't there, and it just wasn't funny. And even when you consider that Benedict Cumberbatch improvised the whole thing in the first place. So, and then they just felt like, oh, let's have Wong listen to Beyonce Single Ladies for some reason, because they thought, oh, it'd be funny because he's listening to this famous song. And it just felt really flat and felt very forced. So that's why I picked the song.
All right. Fight it out, and I'll hit start since I kind of cut off his opening statement.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
So, I overall, Just a Girl by no doubt it is misplaced and hacky and transferable. So for Single Ladies by Beyonce and Doctor Strange, I kind of think it's kind of a fun placement because it's the punchline to a gag that's established. I think in terms, there are criticisms of humor for Doctor Strange. I think the whole gag about like the one word names was kind of fun because Doctor Strange is very arrogant, very pop culture heavy guy. And him kind of having that, throwing those like names that Wong may not have any understanding to, and then Wong listening to one of the more popular songs is a funny thing, as Doctor Strange is taking the books from the Carmitage Library. And I think what's really good about that song drop and just overall what that says for Wong's character is that Wong is like now characterized as a guy that's very interested in popular culture. We have him listening to the Single Ladies by Beyonce in Doctor Strange. We have him be into his binge watching TV in She-Hulk. I think for that scene, it gives a neat characterization to Wong beyond just being the quiet and stoic Asian, wizard or intellectual, mancer or whatnot. It makes Wong seem like a person that you can relate to and appreciate. But whereas for my song choice, when it's played, it's not diegetic, it's just kind of the background. It really ruins the pacing of the scene. You don't get like a sense of oomph when you should really feel Captain Marvel should be kicking so much ass as she's going after the people that manipulate her, that take advantage of her. And this song, Just a Girl, it's a good song, but its placement in the scene ruins both the song and the scene. The scene should be basic, should be just moving the pacing. You should feel a sense of energy. Whereas for Beyond the Single Ladies, it's like a cute, fun punchline or end to a gag that I think serves its purpose and nothing more. There are other instances for Dr. Strange humor that I find issue with, but I think that one is not bad. At least for your scene, it comes and goes, and it's just kind of
Well, okay. The reason, sorry.
It just comes and goes. Whereas for my song choice, it actively ruins the tempo and just the like the overall like feeling of the scene. You should feel power. You should be excited. And this is just like, okay, this is the usual girl power music that would be expected for this movie, and it just kind of drags the scene along. And there's nothing exciting for the scene to complement the music, or the music to complement the scene.
Okay. So as far as what you said about Wong, like you yeah, you bring up that like, oh, it helps shows that Wong is, I think it was, you said that he's this guy that likes stuff in the case of songs, but the thing is, we don't see that again later in the movie. I think
Well,
the more
I meant to say that Wong
Yeah.
is like a guy character that's being into pop culture and willing to explore. So with like Single Ladies by Beyonce, with watching a ton of TV shows, and She-Hulk, with The Sopranos being one of them, I think that's kind of that little scene, while maybe small, actually says a lot about Wong as a character. It's a fun little moment. It show in a way with Strange, just suggesting these songs, maybe kind of manipulating Wong to listen to a song as he's able to take the books. It's like a fun gag. It's the scene itself does not feel evocative of Marvel humor. It feels very much aligned with classic movies where a character is kind of distracted because they're listening to a song and just vibing or reading. It's similar to say the scene where Stan Lee was just listening to music in the Amazing Spider-Man as Spider-Man and Lizard are fighting. So I don't think it's quote unquote Marvel humor. I think it's just a gag that's typical in a lot of movies, before and after the MCU. Whereas at least for my song choice, it feels hackneyed, and it's like, oh, we're about girl power, but this scene where you should feel empowered is just like, okay, this has not become background noise. And I think it devalues what makes the song really good or what should have been a really good scene.
Okay. I agree. Like, Just a Girl also using Captain Marvel is great, but as not used as it is, at least I get what the idea is. Whether you think it was the execution fell flat, is at least that is a song from the '90s, and it is about, this is supposed to be about a female character. So it, at least I could see why they put that song in. What, like,
But
again,
Metallica,
whether it's
the point of the prompt is, what is the worst use of a licensed song? If you agree that
Well-
the execution's not there, then it kind of feeds into my point. Whereas for the song, it's actually used well, because you have a dissonance where a stoic Asian guy that's part of the mystic arts as Grant is listening to this like fun boppy pop song. That's like a fun comedic contrast that a few people can laugh on and move on. Whereas for my scene, like, when you hear it, it's like, okay, it's trying to force a point about Captain Marvel that isn't there. There's much fleshing about her background and just her story being like female empowerment or in Cage. Like, Captain Marvel's not really well characterized. When the song is there, it's like, okay, the movie's trying to force feed you the message or force feed you the subtext. Your song choice just it does its job efficiently as a comedic punchline and a characterized moment for Wong.
Well, for me, okay, the reason why I did is because to me, and even not just me, like most people, most don't consider that scene very funny. Because yeah, sure, and because when you mentioned that, yeah, it shows that Wong is curious to learn, but then we don't see that again later. Like by the end of the movie, what actually is more paid off is how Wong is sort of the stoic, like Asian master, and then that gets paid off at the end when we actually see him laugh, where he's not just the stoic guy. I think that's much better than just forced pop culture.
I think both the Beyonce, I think that both Beyonce song and both like Wong laughing, that's indicative and within the same boat. Whereas for Just a Girl, no doubt, it's like as you're playing, you don't see Captain Marvel doing interesting stuff like choreography wise, which is why he gets a Star Force. You don't see her hit or kick people like alongside the beat. So the song just kind of background noise. And when you look at the lyrics, it's like it just doesn't match with sort of what the movie's about. The movie's about an amnesia character that's realizing her identity. And whereas the song is about a girl that doesn't get to be herself. And then when she goes out, she gets to be, like the song says, just a girl. And those two narratives are so incongruent. Whereas for the Beyonce, the Single Ladies, it's like you have the comedic element of like a guy who you think maybe listen to Sting or like a typical like musician that would be more male leaning. He's listening to Beyonce. That's that has male fans, but typically leans towards women. And so you have this comedic contrast that falls up on Doctor Strange being a audiophile and listing one word artist, and saw Wong being curious. He looks into it, and Doctor Strange takes advantage of Wong's curiosity and just willing to kind of learn about modern popular culture, and is able to get the Book of Cosby Story.
Well, okay. I don't mind like Doctor Strange, like being like an, what is it described as, an audiophile? Yeah, audiophile. I don't mind that. It's just with just using Beyonce, and even with Beyonce, it's just like why of all Beyonce song, why that song? Like, why did that song need to be there?
Because Single Ladies is one of the more noteworthy songs in Beyonce's catalog. So to reach a wide audience, you could have that song. And I think the song, it doesn't play too long. It's just that little bit as Strange is kind of, portaling to get, books from the library. Whereas whereas Just a Girl, the entire song is played throughout the fight sequence. There's no, it doesn't die down, doesn't cut through. There's not like bits and pieces. The whole song plays as Captain Marvel's fighting. The direction is not well done, and the music just doesn't it's not a song that should be playing in a fight scene, in a moment of triumph, in a moment of just disaster.
No.
All right, folks. I think that was probably their best fought round yet, at least in terms of the arguments. What do you guys think?
Well, who's calling it first, Jacob?
No, I mean, I'm just saying, in terms of, I just think the round overall was an improvement. That's all.
Yes.
Oh yeah, overall I think it was improvement. Yeah, for sure.
All right, but actually, I'll be calling it first.
Okay.
And my point will go to Rohit. I think he touched upon the usage of the song within the movie itself, and I think the winning point for me was when he was talking about both the message of the movie and then the message of the song. How those don't exactly coalesce. So my point goes to him. I'll have Tiki go next, actually.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I got to be honest with you guys, this wasn't really close because for me, the Beyonce gag was one of the funniest bits in the original Doctor Strange. So, Mutale, you did put up a decent fight. I respected your arguments, but yeah, you were kind of fighting a losing battle here with me, just subjectively. So yeah, I'm giving the point to Rohit.
Okay, Dragon?
My vote is for Rohith Dhar.
All right.
I feel he made a number of points lifting the Beyonce song. I think he really I think he made a lot of good points about being the punchline to the joke. How it relates to it adds to Wong's character. I think what really hurt Mutale was he pointed out you kind of agreed to my basically you were kind of agreeing to his point with the whole thing of Captain Marvel.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to agree with your opponent and all that, but it's not a good idea when you agree with the points that are counterintuitive to your own argument.
Well, it's also, look, I know it's good, it's sporting, and by all means, but I think it's kind of a habit that Mutale's been following in the whole debate, and I think Rohit calling him on it didn't quite help.
All right, so
anyway,
well, keep in mind, as we've mentioned before, this is the closing of the opening statements. So, and the speed round is an entirely different beast. So speaking of which, we should bring back. It's time to bring back. First off, the words. Did you guys hear any of the words throughout the round?
I don't believe I heard mine. I'm pretty sure I didn't. It wasn't said.
And as far as Tiki goes, I don't think his was heard either. Right, Tiki?
No. Yeah, I think for my word, it's probably going to have to be pretty circumstantial for it to come up. We'll see.
All right, That's fair. Technically mine is a little circumstantial as well. It came close earlier, but
yeah.
And one of the ones I proposed was also said, but ultimately unused.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the coin.
The coin.
This one's the Sherman Tuppence.
Tuppence of flip.
So Rohit, will you spend the tuppence?
Will you feed the birds, Rohit?
I will respectfully decline yet again.
You're gonna let those birds starve, you monster!
All right, let's see if Mutale is more generous.
You cheap monster!
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
All right. Mutale literally has nothing to lose, so
Exactly. Oh.
Man, the gods just hate Mutale tonight, don't they?
Sorry, Rohit. You did keep the coin, right?
yes.
Okay, I can't see the tab because of the timer's in the way. Okay, so that brings us to the speed round, which means I should get rid of put that up and also
Let me speed around, please.
yes, and put that up. So Rohit has a clean sweep of the first 3 rounds, but valiant effort from Mutale. So. Okay, but remember, Mutale, this is a different beast. You could very well easily have a lot of luck and come and pull forward and beat Rohit.
All right.
So, Dragon, what kind of speed run do you think we should go with first?
I'm feeling kind of spherical tonight. Let's go with the wheel.
All right, let's pull up the wheel, and this is the wheel of MCU characters.
In hindsight, we probably should call it Wheel of Marvel, but yes, the wheel of MCU characters.
Well, I can change that real quick. Wheel of Marvel characters. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, so Rohit, since you won, would you like to spin first or have Mutale spin first?
I should let Mutale spin first.
Okay, Mutale. You know how the wheel works. You know how the wheel works, right? You spin. You go with whatever one you get.
Then you'll learn what the question is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, 3, 2, 1. Where will it land? Let us see. Howard the Duck. All right, this is going to be an interesting one to say the least.
Oh yes.
Y'all know that I love that Howard came up.
Yep. All right, so keep in mind, Rohit, that one could have been yours.
Yeah.
From Howard Ashman to Howard the Duck.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Howards tonight.
Yep.
So and Rohit, and remember, you're stuck with this. You can't change them. So
I know.
Somebody call Howard Hamlin.
Yes.
Uh,
Never Fabian around when you need him.
Captain Marvel.
Oh man, these are kind
coincidence?
of both whammies in a way.
Yeah, depending.
All right, switch back to that. So it's Howard so Mutale will go first with Howard the Duck. But first, the question is,
Mm-hmm.
a la Rogers the Musical, which MCU character, which Marvel character should get a musical next? So Howard the Duck and Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Like Rogers the Musical.
pretty much, yes. So Mutale, 30 seconds, then 15. 30 seconds, Rohit, 30 seconds, then 15 for both of you. So Mutale, why should Howard the Duck get a musical?
Well, he's a talking duck, and ducks are funny, and Howard the Duck having some funny. I mean, the musical could probably be him going on some wacky, fun space adventure that, and he goes to different planets and he could fight different aliens, and I think that could be really cool and fun. And it's also because it just because musicals in space.
Just because musicals.
Yeah. Oh, just a space musical would just be a really fun thing. Like you just have these different.
Wait. Save that for the rebuttal.
Okay.
So Rohit, what about Captain Marvel having a musical?
Captain Marvel should have a musical because with her life from the 90s onward, there's fun little towns with Hala, with Earth. You can have fun actors playing Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, like Maria, Monica, and you have just fun set numbers. You can do a lot of the 90s music. You can also do a lot of like girl power stuff with Monica, Carol, and Kamala, and have just a fun boppy Broadway thing that brings it all together with a number with all the three at the end. And that is what makes this a true musical.
All right, Mutale, 15-second rebuttal.
Captain Marvel, well, yeah, sure. Well, Captain Marvel isn't that I don't know if she'd be that engaging enough as a lead that in a musical that people enjoy, that any like songs that she'd probably sing.
All right. Rohit, 15-second rebuttal.
For a musical, you need fun characters, fun vibes. Howard the Duck is a surly duck who is just cranky about everything. With Captain Marvel, you have Captain Marvel, you have Photon with Monica, you have Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, you even have Nick Fury. You have fun characters bouncing one another, having a great musical time.
All right, Dragon, this was your question, so I'll divert the point to you.
All right. First, I did see a big missed opportunity in Rohit's argument. Well, I mean, it's not nothing against him. It just feels like a very obvious point that would have been an instant knockout if he had used it. I mean, he had more literally goes to a whole planet of singing.
Yeah, I realized that as soon as I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was surprised. Like, why doesn't he just bring up a Latin?
Yes, I mean, I gotta be honest. On principle, I kind of want to not give him the point for that. But no. I looking at the arguments, so let's see. I mean, look. I want to give Mutale a fair shake here, but I mean, he just that opening 30 seconds was. I mean, he stammered and said musicals at the end. I don't really know.
Well, I know it was the biggest with the duck guy anyway, so that made
I mean,
it
even
fine.
so, man. I mean, he's in three guys. He's in three Guardians movies. He's in Endgame, and he's in What If. I mean, there's room there. Okay,
Well, that's what I said. They could go all these fun space adventures, very different bad guys. That's why I said that. But I don't know why I didn't bring up actually the Guardians. I was like,
anyway, I think there was some. I think maybe we could have fought for the duck a little bit more. So I'm gonna give the point to Rohit on this one.
All right, so that brings Rohit 4, Mutale 0. Did you guys hear any of the words?
I did not.
Dicky.
Nope.
All right, so what kind of question? We need to get our obligatory Muppet question in here before.
Yeah, we should probably do that one next. Yeah.
Mutale, you're familiar with the Muppets, right?
kind of, yeah.
Okay, how familiar are you with their songs?
Not so much.
Okay, we might have to skip the Muppet one then. But okay, well, the Muppet one we had in mind with Dragon, but I'll go with the one Tiki proposed.
I was going to say I suggested 2 Muppet questions, sir.
Oh my God! You suggested a Muppet question. Let's see what it is.
It's actually not too bad. I went with the.
I know. I'm eager to see what it is.
I believe Tiki's second Muppet question. Does that work for you, Tiki? Or did you prefer the first one?
The second one, if Mutale actually knows who the person is.
Okay. Okay, here it is then. Which Muppet should star in a buddy road trip movie with Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Oh, is it me?
I mean, both of you remember.
Miss Piggy.
Whoever says it first goes first.
Miss Piggy.
Okay.
What?
Miss Piggy.
Oh.
Okay, Mutale's going with Miss Piggy. Rohit?
Oh, did Mutale already pick?
Yeah, he said Miss Piggy.
No, I said Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, so Rohit's the lawyer, and Mutale's the other guy.
Yeah.
I know I misheard.
I'm not going to throw away my shot for you, Lin.
We all do know who Miranda is, right?
Yes.
I guess Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog.
Okay.
Well, he's the guy with the goatee, but no, sure.
All right, sorry about that gaffe there. I misheard for a moment.
Just to make sure I get the prompt is which Muppet would should be with Lin-Manuel Miranda on a road trip musical?
Yeah, like a Bob Hope, Bing Crosby kind of musical.
Like a road, maybe like a Road 2, for example.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Am I sorry?
Like Christmas or whatever, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you're starting with it.
Yes.
Miss Piggy and Lin-Manuel Miranda would be the perfect dynamic duo because Lin-Manuel Miranda is just kind of fun, a happy-go-lucky musical guy, and Miss Piggy is just Miss Piggy. She's an agent of chaos. And so seeing the kind of back and forth in terms of like Miss Piggy try to one-up Lin-Manuel Miranda and Lin-Manuel try to tamp down Miss Piggy, you have like individual numbers where like Miss Piggy's trying to be the best musical star and Lin-Manuel Miranda just wants to preach the music, but coming together, you have this fun like push and pull that makes it a dynamic and engaging musical performance.
Okay, Mutale.
Okay, I think Kermit the Frog.
Wait. Timer.
Oh, okay. So the reason I think Kermit the Frog would be really fun to go with Lin-Manuel Miranda is because he's very funny and wisecracking, and I think him and Lin-Manuel Miranda would have really great chemistry, and there'd be a lot of funny hijinks that they could go on, and I think that would be very funny and entertaining. That I think a lot of kids would enjoy watching, and it's something that I think would just be really interesting to see with Kermit the Frog because he's a frog, and with Lin-Manuel Miranda, it just would be really hilarious and just curious to see.
Okay, Rohit, 15 seconds.
Kermit and Lin-Manuel Miranda have similar energy, so it wouldn't be as funny to kind of see two of the same guy. Whereas with Lin-Manuel Miranda and Miss Piggy, you have oil and water, you have kind of this back and forth. And for Lin-Manuel Miranda, he could be the director trying to tamp his like very energetic star, and Miss Piggy just trying to blow up the entire stage.
Mutale.
Okay, Piggy and the Frog. Yeah, we can go. Okay, so with Pinky, the thing is, yeah, she'd be different, but it just would be much more funny and interesting to see with Kermit the Frog as opposed to Pinky. That'd be just these two different characters that have I don't think.
All right, Tiggy, this was your question. I'll leave this one to you as well.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. I gotta go with Rohit. I'm sorry, Mutale.
Well, I told you I'm not that familiar with the Muppets, so.
Well, wait, we have to include a Muppet question somewhere in these
Yeah.
things. All right, so the final total is Rohit 5, Mutale 0. And that means
It was a close debate.
Rohit wins.
Mutale, to be fair to you, this game can be really hard for someone like on their first time if they don't really know what they're getting into. And Rohit is literally like one of the veterans of this game. So like, I hope you don't feel too badly about this.
He's
No.
Peter Jennings, but more humble.
In all fairness, I did. Well, I would say this because I remember like Rohit said he was a lawyer, but when he first gave the opening, I was like, "Wow!" Like he's like, "Yeah, he's a lawyer." Like this is gonna be hard.
He could
And I
totally
even
be a
knew
lawyer.
some of the people I get would be really hard, like Elton John, because obviously Howard Ashman's famous, and with Doctor Strange. But I was like, well, I'll just give it a try and just see how it goes. So yeah, I'm all right. It's fine. But
No.
but Rick, you were really good. It's
No.
really good.
Well, you did a really good job, Mutale. It's just, it's like, hopefully this is a learning lesson. If you do come back, we would be glad to have you back.
Sure.
Yep.
All right, but since this is over quick, it's you. Does anyone up for a bonus?
I'm good.
Sure, why not? Okay.
All right, so Dragon, what do you think we should do for a bonus? Okay, man. Actually, speaking of, I have an idea. I do have one for a Marvel question. Another Marvel question.
Oh, yes.
It's like something to be fair, like besides Shang-Chi and Wong, which MCU character should try karaoke? And keep in mind, this is not for anything. This is just for fun.
Well, no, it's actually for 5 points. We can actually tie it up again if it's Mutale.
Does that have to be just one character?
I guess
It could be like I guess a couple characters, but
Oh, okay. So here's my choice: She-Hulk, Nikki, and Pug.
okay. Mutale.
Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Khonshu.
All right. Interesting choices. So, Rohit, you're up first.
Okay. On both a just filmmaking level, these three are really fun characters. So doing a little bit of karaoke would be fun. Also, if you were just a person in the bar, seeing these three like singing the most popular song, maybe singing a Megan Thee Stallion song, would be just fun vibes and a good time for all. And I think for especially Tatiana Maslany, she's a pretty good singer. So her singing the She-Hulk form would be really fun. Maybe she can sing this like a song "Green Like Me." It's hard being green. That would be a fun tune. And I think the other two, Pug and Nikki, would just be fun, like background singers.
All right, Mutale.
Okay. Mark, Steven, and Khonshu singing would just be really hilarious because Stephen Grant is like the bumbling British guy who's very aloof, and then you have Mark Spector who's just super stoic. So having them sing a song where it would just shift from Stephen to Mark, or then to Khonshu, just that back and forth would just be so hilarious and funny to see, and especially with because Mark is already because just the shift of
Okay, Rohit, 15 seconds.
Issue with Mark, Steven, Khonshu is that Mark and Khonshu have similar vibes and similar tonalities. So it'd be just two voices. Whereas for She-Hulk, Nikki, and Pug, they did have similar different cadences, different ways of like stage performance. So it'll be kind of fun to see them do their own bits or do their own unique songs.
All right, Mutale.
Okay. Yes, like well, thing with She-Hulk and like Nikki, yeah, it'd be funny, but it'd just be pretty obvious. Whereas with Mark and Steven, it would be better because it's a British guy that's living in his head, and just seeing that one person keep shifting back and forth with the personality would be a more entertaining musical to see.
All right. I'll call this one, actually. And I'm sorry to say, but Mutale gets this one.
Yeah, I seriously think Mutale nailed that one. Actually, I think that was a really funny concept that he came up with.
Yep, singing with himself.
All right, there you go, Mutale. You got a point.
Unfortunate. Sorry about that, Rohit. But yeah, that's actually you get the quote unquote point for that one.
I feel sorry for him. He got 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's fine.
Yeah, that's something.
It was
cry to the bank.
I will say that like the idea of Oscar Isaac just going back and forth and Khonshu just like no we can no like being like background that is pretty fucking funny. I will yeah.
Yep.
No, it'd be Mark and Steven sing, and then Khonshu would just be doing like the lyrics.
Also, I kind of wish you emphasize like Oscar Isaac is a pretty decent singer, but I think just on comedic value alone, I think it would have been very funny to see like work.
Yeah. So good work today. Good work tonight. Good work tonight, guys. All right. So, hey, thank you, Tiki and Dragon, for all your help. And but also the words that we were looking out for. We should divulge those.
I was looking for Fantasia.
Dragon?
I was looking for applause.
Are you happy now, Dragon?
It's kind of a hollow feeling, but you know.
and my word was Lopez. Funnily enough, one of the ones like basically, I think Rohit actually said 2 of the ones I proposed. Like he at least said had beat and hit. I think I said both of those, and those are ones I proposed. So you dodged a bullet there, Rohit. 2 of them actually.
You can call me the Flash.
Maybe when we do a DC debate, then we can call you that.
Oh,
if we ever do one.
you ever done one?
We've done DC adjacent, but I don't think we've ever done directly DC.
Have we not?
Okay.
That's
No, we
surprising
did.
if we haven't.
I'm pretty sure we did.
We did a couple themed around Batman, but I don't think
Well,
we
no,
did.
I think we did. Remember, they had the whole. I made you make the whole, the DC thing, Jacob. Remember the?
Oh yeah, the DC. We did do one DC debates. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
But we've only done one of those. So if we ever do another one, then we'd call Rohith the Flash. All right, so Diggy, how about you think the comments?
Yeah, sure. Big thanks to Kogia, C&K. Theme Park Priest popped in briefly, as did Little Blue. I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and thank you guys here for joining me this fine evening.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Hope you enjoyed our program.
Yeah, and it was actually nice talking to you, Rohith. This is like the first time. So I'm just like usually in like comments like on either Geekvolution or on the Discord.
All right, guys, hold on. Let me, before you guys get to chit-chatting, let me do a quick little outro gag, and then we'll get out of here.
Okay.
I repeat. I'm going to repeat this because I'm proud of the wordplay here. I'll never throw away my shot with you, Lynn.